Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rick Isbell. I'm the ADA and Veteran Affairs Coordinator for the City of Columbus, and it is my pleasure to open up the ceremonies for the naming dedication for Purple Heart Way. As you well know, the Purple Heart is a distinction that many of us military members don't want. Most of them tell me that they just didn't duck fast enough. I do believe that's Carl's saying, I didn't duck fast enough, or it wasn't quick enough. But that being said, I cannot honor you enough for being here for us and for what you've done for our country. But I also can't say enough for those who didn't make it home. And I know that's what you stand for. That is your main goal, is to talk about the ones that didn't make it home. So, we are a Purple Heart city. We proudly fly the Purple Heart flag, and we proudly support the Purple Heart Way. That being said, I also have to talk about tomorrow is the Purple Heart 5K, and for those who are going to be in that, we light the city purple. City Hall will be purple, Levesque Tower will be purple, and as you cross the finish line, you're going to get one of these beautiful coins, challenge coin, given by one of these gentlemen or ladies after you finish. And they will hand it to you, shake your hand, and thank you for being there and honoring them. You can't ask for more than that. And then, of course, on the 7th is National Purple Heart Day, and we celebrate that every year. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and have the invocation. I'm going to ask that Carl Price from the Military Order of Purple Heart, Chapter 500, please join us at the podium.
Please uncover. Holy Father of us all, we give thanks that we're able to gather here without fear or having to render favors. The weather of this day reminds us of the heat and cold of past engagement in many lands. We feel your continued presence with us. We are well aware of the sacrifices of the days gone by, of the actions for which there are no words, and the experiences that are known and felt in this moment. We think of those long gone but never forgotten with whom we served. We think of our mothers, wives, husbands, sons, daughters, and other family members who waited with anxiety, fears, prayers, and love for our safe return. Words cannot express the sorrow of not knowing and of waiting for the knock on the door. We thank them, our families, for their service of silence, which they endured when they were notified that a loved one was missing in action or had been wounded or killed in action. In the silence of those moments, we bring before you, Lord, before our nation and each other, a love of family, God, country, and our fellow patriots for whom we were and are willing to lay down our lives. Amen. Cover.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Rick. Oh, and by the way, I'm not running this year because I blew my knee out last week and I had it drained, but beat my time last year of 28:48, and we'll see what's going on at 3.1.
Thank you very much. And now for the Pledge of Allegiance, I would like to ask Bernie Reisner to please approach.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms!
Thank you, Bernie. I would like to thank Councilmember Brown, who is with us today behind the podium. Mr. Hugh Dorian is out there in the audience somewhere. I saw him earlier, who is also a veteran, both Councilmember Brown and Dorian. Mr. Dick Stobbs, a veteran representative from Mike DeWine's office, and then Robert Wildbacher from Congressman Beatty's office, also a veteran, and from Senator Brown's office is Matt Keyes. There he is. All right, now, without further ado, it is now my pleasure to introduce the Mayor of the City of Columbus, Andrew J. Ginther.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate you. Good morning and welcome to Columbus City Hall and to an exciting day here in the city. Acknowledge some of the great leaders in city government that are veterans, and obviously we wouldn't be who we are as a city without the best auditor in America, Hugh Dorian, one of the finest safety directors and now council members in the city's history, another veteran, Mitch Brown. We also have a deputy director of building services, Tony Celebrezzi, who's here, another veteran and great leader within city government, and I'm grateful for him and his service and his great family's service to this community and our great state and country. I want to welcome all of our special guests, to thank you all for coming today. I especially want to recognize my dad, himself a Purple Heart recipient. He spent a better part of a year in Walter Reed after being injured in 1969. And as we recognize all of those who have paid such a price and made such a sacrifice, let us also remember the families. It was my mom and her mom who took a newborn boy who was born 6 days before my dad was wounded in Vietnam, and they drove from Akron, Ohio to Walter Reed a couple of times a week so that my dad could bond with my older brother. As we always say in public service, individuals don't serve, families serve. And so we thank God for families who have lifted up and supported these men and women. The American flag is the most powerful symbol in our nation. Many men and women have been wounded or made the ultimate sacrifice in order to keep that very flag flying. The Purple Heart is awarded to members of the armed forces of the U.S. who are wounded by an instrument of war in the hands of an enemy, posthumously to the next of kin in the name of those who are killed in action or die of wounds received in action. It is specifically a combat decoration. Today we pay tribute to the Military Order of the Purple Heart, whose motto is, "Some gave all gave some." Today we recognize the shared struggles, the shared history, and the shared tears and dreams. The city of Columbus is a Purple Heart city. Tonight we will light City Hall in purple. Tomorrow the Purple Heart 5K will run through Columbus. And on Sunday we will celebrate National Purple Heart Day as a community. Today and this weekend we solemnly remember those who have given so much for our country and helped to make the United States in this great community what it is today. God bless you all, and God bless America.
Thank you very much, sir. And now it is my pleasure to have our guest speakers. We're going to have Chapter Commander Alex Sunderberg come up here to introduce our female Purple Heart recipient.
Before I do that, I would like to thank you, Rick, for your support of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Chapter 500, and our mission statement. As commander of the Chapter 500, we thank Mayor Ginther and members of City Council as we remember and honor the men and women who were killed or wounded while serving in action, defending our way of life and our freedoms. Freedom is not free. Mr. Mayor, as a memento of your first Purple Heart Remembrance Week as Mayor of Columbus, Buckeye Chapter 500 of the Military Order of the Purple Heart would like to present you with a small token for your support and patriotism. This year, Chapter 500 is paying special tribute to the women who have been killed or wounded in combat. Sharing a few comments today is a veteran, a mother, and a member of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, and Kathy Durr. Kathy?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Ginther, for the kind introduction. Military Order of the Purple Heart, Chapter 500, and the Fallen 15 for putting the race together. And thank you all for coming today. It's exciting to be here. First of all, you should know that it's kind of ironic that I'm here. I'm standing in front of you as a spokeswoman for the female Purple Heart recipients. As my family and my friends can verify, I'm not the one. I'm not the eloquent speaker. I honestly, a few years ago, I couldn't even talk about, the reasons why we're here. So, however, a great deal of support from my friends and family and the community. That's why I'm able to be here. I'm humbled to not just represent all Purple Heart recipients, but also fellow female recipients. There's few and far of us between, but I'm happy to be a voice for them, be a voice for those who couldn't make it back home. As the roles in combat continue to evolve, undoubtedly the number of Purple Heart recipients, female recipients, will rise. But currently, there's roughly 300 recipients. It was initiated on the 200th birthday of General Washington. The first recipient, her name was she was an Army First Lieutenant Annie Gayton Fox. She was awarded the Purple Heart on December 7th from Pearl Harbor. She was the first U.S. service woman to be directly awarded the Purple Heart. While Japanese dive bombers and Zero fighters screamed overhead at Pearl Harbor, Army hospitals on the island were overwhelmed with burn victims. Amid the noise and confusion in dealing with shortages of supplies and hospital beds, at Hickam Airfield Station Hospital, Chief Nurse First Lieutenant Fox works ceaselessly and calmly despite the enormous loss of life around her. I think that's something to be recognized. It's something to be inspired. As a woman, you act how you act. You do all you can in that moment to make everything right around you, I guess. I joined the Army when I was 19. I deployed as a medic with the 112th Engineer Battalion out of Cleveland, Ohio. I was quickly transferred to the 1221st Engineer Company out of South Carolina. We're combat engineers. I was their medic. We were tasked throughout the year for finding IEDs through the roads all over Paktika province. On May 15th, 2011, we were clearing out Route Ferrari. Our convoy was attacked. They took out the front two trucks, and they tried to take out the last truck, which is the one I was in. And a 30-minute firefight ensued after that. I evacuated 6 other soldiers, to include myself, and to Bob Sharana, and that day was a success in the fact that we didn't lose anyone that day. We all got to come home, and that was a wonderful thing. I'm proud to be a member of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Chapter 500. The dedication they have to preserve the past generations and to educate the future is phenomenal. And they've given me a voice in which I would like to offer my thoughts to those who cannot return home as I did, and to those who faithfully served and who have lost their voice through the loss of their life or the fact that they just can't talk. And to all the mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters that are left with memories, my heart goes out to you every time I see you and every time our cross paths. And to those who have given the ultimate sacrifice, may you have found peace. Cheers to a safe return for all of our men and women currently deployed, and an intelligent and peaceful end to the escalating conflicts here and abroad. Thank you all who are contributing your efforts today, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much.
I've got a few more words to say. The Purple Heart's been in the news a lot lately, and I'd like to talk about the early history of the Purple Heart. In the first form, it was known as the Badge of Merit. It is believed to have been designed by General Frederick von Steuben, a Prussian general who came to the aid of George Washington in 1777 at Valley Forge. He was tasked with the problem of disciplining and whipping his troops into shape so they're a combative force. It was made of purple silk or cloth, the shape of a heart, with a laced edging. The word merit was embroidered on black felt, and it was to be worn on the left breast. Washington wanted this award for enlisted men and NCOs only. Other countries around the world all had medals, but they were strictly for officers. Washington didn't like that. It was awarded for outstanding acts of bravery, exceptional courage, and fidelity. The first was awarded to Sergeant Elijah Churchill, 2nd Connecticut Regiment, the Light Dragoons. He was known for a series of commando-like raids on the forts, the British forts in New York, where he would attack them, steal their stores, and then burn them to the ground. The award lapsed when the Army disbanded. It wasn't until 1932 when General Douglas MacArthur spearheaded a drive to revive the medal. When the medal was issued, the first medal was issued to General Douglas MacArthur, and it was Purple Heart #1. Over the years, there's been many executive orders and changes in the regulation. This is what it looks like today. This medal was pinned on my pajamas at St. Albans Medical Hospital in New York in May of 1966 by a Marine Corps major. In closing, I'd like to say, God bless our troops. God bless the United States of America.
Thank you very much, Alex. And thank you, Kathy, for your kind words. And now it's time. We're going to unveil the street sign. Of course, it doesn't have anything over it, but we didn't want to put anybody in danger. But what I have here for the mayor, Kathy, is a duplicate sign. There it is. And now we will light City Hall purple. Glenn Mueller, our facility management, will be flipping the switch as we speak. It's not going to light up right away, so don't expect miracles. And it is daytime. But City Hall will now be purple, and it'll also be red, white, and blue on the other side. We're good to go. Anything else to say, sir? And that, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap up our day and our ceremony. I want to thank you all for coming out on this warm day and celebrating with us the men and women who have given so much for our country. God bless you, and be safe going home.